It's definitely pretty easy to understand when the genre is being described as industrial. It definitely has a very construction-like quality to it. It's a dude dealing with their mental illness, sometimes through metaphor, sometimes quite literal, transparent. The 90s was pretty cool because there was a lot of like, this is real life, but like, I feel like with like reality TV, like they portray that kind of, not exactly the same kind of lifestyle. I mean, I guess unless you're doing like MTV, whatever. But sorry, I know I'm going off tangent, but like just like obviously they fabricate it with like they'll cut, they cut stuff, they'll edit stuff out. They get people to reenact scenes, et cetera, et cetera, or tell them what to say and tell them how to act or how they should feel or whatever, for views and whatever. Whereas this, like, I'm not trying to, once again, I'm a nobody, but I've written a song which is pretty sexual based compared to someone who's written and I'm actually not even a huge fan of Closer because I just feel like it's just too, like, I feel like it's too intimate. I think that's for me. And I can understand why people would be turned off by someone writing something so sexual. I don't know if it was, I think Kurt mentioned, there were people who mentioned how, plenty of people have mentioned how they're very against people who are making sexual content and how awkward and cringe it can be. But I mean, sex is a part of life. So I don't know. And in certain like cultures, it's definitely celebrated, not fucking like put in a corner and you should put a fucking blanket or some kind of tarp over it and no one can see anything. Like, it's just, we got definitely a prude mentality for some people. This is a guy that, I guess to some people failed again and again and possibly was ridiculed for it and expected to never recover from it. And possibly was expected to just join the rest of the members of that generation that fucking killed themselves or overdosed or whatever, or just like, I don't know, shut off into the world and you never saw him again. Before probably inevitably overdosing, but anyway. I definitely consider industrial music. I mean, it's alternative rock and stuff like that, but I definitely consider it grunge. I just throw it right in the... It's the same fucking thing. Ooh, wow, we're different just because we're fucking using synthesizers instead of fucking guitars. He definitely uses guitars as well, but obviously it's like... It's... I don't know, man. To me, it's grunge. I'm sorry. I mean, to some listeners, seeing someone relapse over and over again, it must be a bit draining to hear him sing about the same thing over and over again. But, back in the day, I've definitely been critical of that kind of stuff, repetitious. But it definitely symbolizes maybe this person's just struggling through something long-term. It's not just a short-term thing. Some problems could be short and could be solved or addressed or, I don't know, run away from, I don't know, figure it out, something like that. But then there's some things where it's just like you have to face this thing head on and it's not easy. And, expression is a beautiful thing. And a lot of times, I mean, another thing, this is something in my, learning in my life, you got to do it for yourself. You're not doing it for fans. Like, if you're doing it for fans, great or whatever. But like, if you need someone else's approval of your own expression, you might be in trouble. I've definitely been there, so I get it. And from time to time, you know what I mean? We all fucking wish we were all not everybody, but a lot of people definitely. So, but just the reality, this is somebody that, in my opinion, they have to do this. There's no other way of life, of living. I did see Soul, the Disney movie, and he's, branched out and stuff like that. He's definitely, it's like you wouldn't expect this or whatever, but it's like, I don't know. Who gives a fuck? Good ass movie. I'll talk about it sometime probably. I will say, so I went to a festival, it was some psychedelic festival locally years ago, and took some acid. This one dude was chainsawing a sculpture, an artist who does that, makes sculptures out of wood using a chainsaw, and they were playing to the music, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard, and I was like, that's the kind of music I want to make. And I would say that probably, Trent Reznor is probably an origins of something like that, or as close as I've heard to something like that. Besides anyone else who's kind of, I guess, replicated that kind of sound. It's not that hard to be original, but it is hard too at the same time. I don't know. It's the right mindset.